All right, what is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Post game show after the post game show. Lakers lose to the Miami Heat, 112-98, the final score. So obviously, recording this one, throwing it up on YouTube. Appreciate you guys being part of the show. It's kind of easier for me if I'm not in the studio. Throw one of these recordings up there and get everything that I want content wise up on the page for you guys. So got a few things to get into. We'll obviously talk about the game. We'll talk about the turnovers, talk about the points off of turnovers, how the Lakers actually had some opportunities there against Miami towards the end of the game of at least making it more interesting. They cut it down. It was 22. They cut it all the way down to 7. I thought some interesting decisions by Darvin Ham, taking some guys out there towards the end that brought you back. So I'll spend a little time on that. We'll look at the upcoming schedule for the Lakers. There was a report, or at least something from Shams a little bit earlier today, talking about Anthony Davis that I want to get into. And then there was a really interesting quote that I think from LeBron at the end of the game that it was interesting. I've not seen him say something that is very, very apparent as far as the Lakers' struggles. So we'll get into that as well. All right, let's start off with the game here real quick. So 112-98, the final score. Laker fans, it's kind of crazy. The stats for the most part between both teams are not that different. 48% Lakers shot from the field. Miami shot 48% from the field. Lakers shot 36% from three, hit 2 more threes than the Miami Heat. He shot 31% from three. Lakers hit 11 free throws. They hit 13 free throws. Nothing crazy. So nothing really out of the ordinary. Rebounding, Lakers advantage 44-37. So a rebounding edge by 7. And then there's a couple stats that, man, I don't freaking remember doing a game where it's this off on these two specific stats. 14 steals for the Miami Heat, 2 for the Lakers. Turnovers. When the hell did you see a team have plus 20 from a turnover perspective? The Miami Heat had 6 turnovers. So that means the Lakers, a couple things happened there. Number one, Heat playing responsible basketball. They're not sloppy with the basketball. They're a well-coached team. It's Eric Spoelstra. It's the Miami Heat. It's Pat Riley. That's kind of what they do, right? Only 6 turnovers. So certainly not enough turnovers caused by the Lakers. The Lakers had 26 turnovers. There was a 20 turnover advantage for the Miami Heat. And I really don't have to go much further than that. If one team has 20 more turnovers, it's the equivalent of the NFL. A team has 5 turnovers and another team has none. A team in baseball's got 5 errors and another team has none. You're probably not going to win those games. And I think that's, the best way that I can describe it. 26 turnovers to 6. Points off of turnovers, 31-2. So it wasn't even Miami getting turnovers. They were getting buckets after the turnovers. So I don't have to tell, anyone listening to this channel or listening to this episode right now that you're obviously not going to win many games when there's that much of discrepancy in turnovers. And look, Bron had 6 turnovers. So it's not like these were just the role players that were having the turnovers. Let's see. Bron had 6. Dennis Schroeder had 4. Russ had 4. Or no, Russ had 3. Austin Reeves had 4. So right there between those 4 players, 10. Thomas Bryant had 3. So it's really the entire team that had a ton of individual turnovers. Of course, you have team turnovers on top of that. And that's your ball game. That's simple. You don't really have to go too much further. You don't have to look at too much from a stats perspective. I mean, the Heat, just because of the turnovers, took 15 more shots than the Lakers did, hit 7 more shots than the Lakers did. So that alone is, when one team is getting buckets or the one team is actually making an attempt at shooting a bucket and the Lakers obviously are not, that's going to completely hinder one squad, and that was obviously the case for the Lakers tonight. So the one move that I was referring to that, Lakers were down 22. They're making a run, and Troy Brown Jr., I thought, had a big part to do with that run. He just had a stretch here. He did this yesterday too. He had 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, and I want to say all those were in the fourth quarter. Today, not that much different. 4 of 5 from the 3-point line, and I want to say most of those were in the fourth quarter. He was +3 in the plus minus. He had 14 points and played a good stretch there towards the end of the game. But then they didn't close out the game. They had Patrick Beverly come back in. He was part of the lineup closing it out. Juan Toscano did stay in the game. I don't know. Did he stay in the game all the way to the end? They might have subbed him out too. I'm just kind of trying to think off the top of my head. And I'm not telling you that the Lakers would have won the game, but Pat Bev missed a shot. Bron had a turnover. Russ missed a 3. I want to say Dennis Schroeder missed a shot as well. They had 3-4 possessions in a row where they could have cut that 7-point deficit down, and it just wasn't in the cards. It didn't end up happening for the Lakers. But I'm a big believer in when you have a certain group of guys that really have a lot to do with the run that your team is making. I don't understand the philosophy of taking, some of those players out. Just keep running with it. I mean, they're the team that brought you back. They're the squad that was bringing you back. Unless one of them are demanding, hey, I got to come out. I need a breather. That's a different story. So, look, Miami pretty much had control the entire game. At the end of the first quarter, they're up 8. They're up 9 at halftime. They're up, I think it was 16 or 17 by the time the fourth quarter started. So it's not like the Lakers were just right there, but they did make a run in the fourth quarter, and they had some opportunities, and obviously didn't happen for the Lakers. So 112-98, the final score. Okay, so the thing I wanted to point out in the post-game show tonight was I'm going to read off a quote here from LeBron James in the post-game. And, I'm obviously doing the post-game show number 1. This is post-game show number 2. But I'm obviously, listening to Bron, and he was asked the question about he turns 38 coming up on Friday. And I think it was Kyle Goon or the Orseed Register that asked the question, but the question was pretty much, are you thinking about that? Are you thinking about that often? Are you just kind of more small picture right now? And kind of went into a long rant of there's a lot of things that he thinks about that I'll read the quote exactly. He said, I don't want to finish my career playing at this level from a team aspect. I still want to compete for championships. I know what I bring to any ball club with the right pieces. Bron also talked about how he thinks about, obviously his family and his son, Bronny, and how he's going to be going into college. And he talked about, he thinks about a lot of different things and, potentially playing. He doesn't really pay much attention to how long he's going to play for. He said it's just up to his mind. And if his mind's into it, then he'll figure out what he needs to do for his body. But I don't want to finish my career playing at this level from a team aspect. I still want to compete for championships. I know what I bring to any ball club with the right pieces. That actually speaks very loud to me. That really does. First off, I'm not surprised that he's saying I still want to compete for championships. I've had this argument at the radio station before. I have not believed that LeBron James is in hey, I'm just here counting my checks and averaging 15 points a game, playing 25 minutes a game, waving my goodbyes, throw some tributes, and I'm going to pass Kareem and I'm going to call it a career. Obviously, LeBron James does not have thoughts of doing that. And he does want to compete. And oh, by the way, LeBron James is throwing up ridiculous numbers again at, an age that is just, it's amazing. Like I say, he's about to turn 38, 20, almost 28 points a game, 8 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a steal a game. He's playing almost 36 minutes a game. So clearly LeBron still feels like he's at a level where he could be competing for a championship if the pieces are right, if the team is right, if the front office is right, if everything is right. And I bring that up because we all know how important Anthony Davis is. The problem is AD has clearly shown he has issues staying on the court. And this will be the 3rd season in a row where he's missing a pretty good chunk of change when it comes to games. But that piece of I know what I can bring to any ball club with the right pieces. Laker fans, I don't know what to really make of that. I don't know if that's LeBron saying, obviously clearly he wants to win as a Los Angeles Laker. His family is here. He already won a championship with the Lakers, but he's not comfortable with just riding into the sunset and saying, well, what the hell do you guys want me to do? I already got you one championship. He's obviously trying to add to his own legacy, and the Lakers can benefit off of him adding to his own legacy as the Lakers are sitting with 17, total championships. What does it mean if he starts realizing and the franchise starts realizing it's probably not going to happen here? Does that mean LeBron James will say, okay, well, if it's not happening here, let's see if I can make it happen somewhere else? And I don't have the answer to that, but clearly right now the Lakers are showing as they're sitting in 13th place in the Western Conference, as they're 13-21 on the season. They're, or 14-21 on the season. They're 7 games below 500. I don't know when Anthony Davis is coming back. I did see something from Shams a little bit earlier today that talked about at the earliest he'd come back in mid-January. That's still 8-9 games away, and that probably means another 6 losses for the Lakers, 7 losses for the Lakers. I mean, I guess they're a little fortunate that, if you go look at the NBA standings, it's not like to make the play-in tournament, you have to be 5 games over 500. That's certainly not the case, and that probably won't be the case. But what you got to do is start winning games at some point, and the Lakers have not been able to find a way of doing that on a consistent basis. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Golden State Warriors are all in front of them now. I'll tell you, Lakers, if you're looking at it from teams that are playing right now, Minnesota just lost to the Pelicans, so they've lost 4 in a row. Golden State's currently losing to the Jazz by 7 right now, and Steph Curry, we don't know when he's going to come back. So maybe the Lakers can still be around this play-in tournament spot, obviously, by the time AD comes back. But they're not winning. Who knows how long it's going to take for Anthony Davis to get back to a certain form to help the Lakers win on a consistent basis. So there's a lot of things that go against the Lake Show, but I thought that quote was interesting. Still want to compete for championships. I know what I bring to any ball club with the right pieces. So I think that says something. I don't think he's going out of his way targeting the Lakers front office by saying that. I think he's just being honest. I'm about to turn 38. I still want to win. I still think I could win. Go look at my numbers. I'm still delivering on a night in, night out basis. Laker fans, I'll throw this out to you guys. What do you think? What do you think he means by that quote? And, is there something that the Lakers can do to, I don't want Laker fans to think, oh, well, the Lakers are just trying to accommodate LeBron James. What about the Lakers? No, I don't think they're trying to accommodate just LeBron James. I think there's both teams, both LeBron and the Lakers have something in common. They want to win championships. Now, how you get there and if it's realistic or not, that's a different question. So feel free to put your comments below. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts. Thank you for being a part of the show. It's a wrap for me right now. Next game for the Lakers, they got the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta struggling. I know Trae Young didn't play today against the Brooklyn Nets, but they're 17-18. They've lost a couple games in a row. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. And I want to say Atlanta, of all the games, specifically out in that region of the country, that might be the biggest Laker fan base is in Atlanta. That's not at crypto. At least that's what Michael Thompson always tells me, and John Ireland. So anyways, we'll be back on Friday doing the next Lakers game. Thank you for being a part of the show. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Lakers lose 112-98 against the Miami Heat. Back on Friday. Thanks, Laker fans.